looking here at our staff to show the video just created for us by Gary Krupp, who was also instrumental in building relations between Christians and Jews. And would it be possible now to show that videos by Gary, who is showing his work as a peace builder together with John Paul II, and also together and based on wonderful gestures. So let us. No, we can stay here.
I'm the president and founder of the Pave the Way Foundation with my wife Meredith Krupp. I want to thank this wonderful symposium for inviting me to address you via video, unfortunately. But I wish I could have been there in person, but this is an incredible tribute to a saintly man who changed the course of my life personally. Thank you so much. Well, Pave the Way Foundation is an unusual organization, probably one of the most successful organizations in the world that nobody has ever heard of, because we work quietly behind the scenes. We talk to people who will not talk to each other, and we do so by creating a relationship with usually the heads of major religions, and we do it through gestures. We'll establish a fantastic gesture, and that gives us a level of trust, and because of that we can then act on an obstacle or a problem, and we work to eliminate those problems. My wife Meredith and I have had the incredible privilege of getting to meet St. John Paul II, first in 1991, then again in 1998, and then again in 2000, right after the World Trade Center. In 2005, I made a request of the Secretary of State. I said that we would like to thank Pope John Paul II for what he's done for the Jewish people and for the state of Israel, which was quite remarkable. He was the first pope to visit a synagogue in many centuries. He established diplomatic relations and normalized relations with the state of Israel. He also made many declarations against anti-Semitism and how it is a sin in the Catholic Church, and he referred to us as his beloved elder brothers.
Your Holiness, we are a group of people who represent a cross-section of Judaism, who've traveled here with the blessings of millions of our faith in order to thank you. Soon after your ascension to the throne of St. Peter, you made a telling trip to Auschwitz in order to pay homage to the victims of the Holocaust. You've defended Jewish people at every opportunity. As a priest in Poland and during your 26-year pontificate, you've denounced anti-Semitism as a sin against God and humanity. It's impossible to describe the emotional impact these milestones have had on Jews worldwide. Your Holiness, these reconciliatory acts have in fact been a hallmark of your pontificate, as you've also tried to repair the ancient rifts in all of the religions of the world. The Jewish ethics of the Fathers beautifully captures in verse the love you have exhibited for all humanity.
And so we had this wonderful, wonderful event, which is on our website. You can see it. You can see my speech to the Pope and his response, which was as clear as day back to us. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful historic event.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, with affection, I greet the members of the Pave the Way Foundation on your visit to the Vatican.
Pope John Paul II's response was clear as day, and he was thanking all of us for what we've done. He thanked me personally for my remarks to him, and he ended his speech with Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. All the rabbis, you saw all of a sudden you see them smiling about that. It was just a fantastic event. In fact, I had 3 rabbis in the papal palace. It was in Sala Clementina, blessing the Pope in Hebrew. And he started to cry. It was unbelievable, the most touching experience. And the fact is that his secretary, now Cardinal Jewish, if you look at his coat of arms, he has a Star of David in his coat of arms. It's remarkable. We are one family. We are one religion. We all believe in God. The way we pray, customs and so on may vary between Islam and Judaism and Christianity, but we're doing the same thing with the same higher authority. This is the important part of what Pave the Way does. We recognize that we don't want the differences to separate us. Embrace our similarities, savor our differences. And that's our slogan. Pope John Paul II had a Jewish friend growing up, Jerzy Kluger, who was on our board of directors in Italy, in Rome. Jerzy Kluger grew up, and he tells a story. They were in junior high school, and in Poland, they would post the grades on the school. And so one day, Jerzy goes to the junior high school, sees his grades. He sees that he and Lalik, or Carol Wojtyła, graduated, and they were going on to high school. He got very excited. So he runs up to his father's house in Wadowice, and he said, where's Lalik? Where is he? He says he's serving Mass, and his house, we've been there, his house is right next door to the church. Kluger ran into the church, and all of a sudden, Pope sees him, he says, sit down, right? And all of a sudden, some woman walks over to him. Says, aren't you Dr. Kluger's son? He says, yes, I am. He says, well, you're Jewish, you don't belong in here. She walks away. After the Mass was over, Carol Wojtyła goes over to Kluger. She said, what did that woman say to you? She says, I'm Jewish, I don't belong here. He says, how stupid. Doesn't she know we're all children of the same God? This is a 14-year-old kid. Another situation that occurred, which was unbelievable, was one of my friends was the Apostolic Nuncio to Israel, Archbishop Sambi. Pietro Sambi has passed away, unfortunately. We lost him. He was also the Nuncio of the United States later on. And I was having dinner with him in Jerusalem with my wife. He said to me, when I went in to see the Pope, he always calls his delegates in and has a talk with them before they get assigned. He says to me, do you love the Jewish people? Oh, Holy Father, he said, I'm a diplomat, I have to be impartial, I have to visit. Do you love the Jewish people? Oh, Holy Father, how would I react to such a thing? Do you love the Jewish people? Ask them 3 times. And he says, if you ask me in my heart, I truly love the Jewish people. So he said, you can be my nuncio in Israel. And he told me that story that is quite remarkable, but the effect of this Pope with Jewish-Catholic relations was absolutely remarkable, as it was with all the historic things he did. It's a privilege for me to address this group. It's something that means a lot to me. I love Poland. We had a wonderful visit there. We went with Pope Benedict on his first trip when he was elected Pope. So Meredith and I and our directors from Pave the Way Foundation went to Poland with him. And I welcomed him with Jerzy Kluger into the house of John Paul II. So it was just an incredible experience. And the fact that Pope John Paul II gave me the incredible privilege, knighted me to the Order of St. Gregory the Great 23 years ago, 2000. That changed the entire course of my life. In those years, I was in the medical business, and we built houses and stuff like that. Because of that now, as a Jewish member of the papal household, I'm now bridging religions. And because of that, everything we did, we created Pave the Way Foundation. One of our friends that we brought, I made a request. I'd like to bring a delegation of Jewish leaders to the Vatican Library to see the most important writings in Judaism. Absolutely, and because it was so wonderful, the way we were so well treated, it changed the course of my life. And I was 53 years of age now, so, you know, it's a long time ago. But it did change, and it was all due to His Holiness, Saint John Paul II. And funny, I made a speech when I was in Poland, and Jerzy Kluger's screaming at me, you don't know how to pronounce it. I said, I don't speak Polish. But I kept saying on the radio, I said, I cannot wait for the day that we can say, Święty Jan Paweł II, which was St. John Paul II. This is prior to his canonization. I cannot tell you how lucky we are. And because of the relationship we have with the Catholic Church, it has helped us enormously with the Islamic world and the Muslims and the Protestants and the Anglican Church and the Greek Orthodox Church. We work in each of these faiths, all of the different faiths. So it's quite a privilege, and it was all started by St. John Paul II. One of the universities decided to do this wonderful event of all of these things, and they created the Museum of Jewish Heritage, and so Pave the Way Foundation, with my chairman, Elliot Hirschberg, and Richard Kandel, and so on. We actually financed bringing it to New York, and we had an exhibit at the Museum of Jewish Heritage, and we brought Kluger, came to the United States, and some of the other people from that period of time. So it was just a fantastic event, and it was Pope John Paul II and the Jewish people a blessing to one another. That's what the subject was. Archbishop Migliori, who was the Nuncio of the United States, attended, and Bishop Murphy was there, was an old dear friend, and Governor Pataki came, and of course the museum staff, and then we had Jersey there. So it's just a very, very important event. It was packed. We had just a wonderful thing, and we exhibited something I'm very proud of and very happy to talk about. My wife even pointed out something that she talks about all the time. When the Pope came over to us and he put his hand on her shoulder, she said, "I was in the presence of a holy man." It changed her. And in fact, when we had the Jewish audience, same exact thing happened. 168 rabbis, cantors, Jewish leaders from around the world. They were all jubilant and happy and jumping around, making noise, singing songs before we went into the Papal Palace. We had 9 little buses. When we came out of that palace, everyone was dead silent. Not only that, because of that holiness and because of that spirit he had and he gave to people, he met every single person in the room. I stood next to him and introduced him to every single person in the room. In the Orthodox Jewish world, typically they don't have too many conversations with other religions. An Orthodox rabbi was the chief rabbi of Efrat in Israel. He was with us. Because of that event, he created the first institute of Jewish Christian study in Efrat, Israel. Everybody was impacted by this. Friends of ours, they said, "Now I understand what happened to you," because she would say it was an aura that he had. And everybody who knew him felt that, including his old friend as a little boy. Imagine a 14-year-old boy saying something that, "Doesn't she know we're all children of the same God?" That's the thing that we deal with, is that the similarities rather than the differences. I want to thank you for inviting me to attend via video to this most important conference to commemorate this fantastic legend we've lost, who's now with God, and this is just a wonderful privilege. Thank you so much for inviting me to address your group. Thank you.
We also asked Gary not only to speak about John Paul II as an inspiration for him, but also about his work, because we are not here to put John Paul II to the museum, but to think about our vocations and what we can do more, what we can do in the future. Although we are not as young as we were, but still, the future is ahead of us. And within several minutes we have left, I would like to ask you first, Mark, what is your vocation? What is your vocation, and what makes you